Rev up your engines! Cleaning out my garage, who knows what we'll find, things you may have never seen, and things I may not have seen for decades. Now this part of my garage behind my giant 20-ton press is kind of like a black hole. Light doesn't come out of there, it's darkness. So I'm getting my cool LED set up so we can see what's happening in there. My old Snap-on scanner from decades ago. I haven't used this thing in ages because it's kind of dated. It's the old one. It has troubleshooter cassettes, like this says here, through 1997, so it's kind of a dated tool. And as you can see inside, there's tons of adapters for various vehicles. But today, this plugs into the car, and it wirelessly connects to a scanner. You don't have to deal with all that crap because the modern cars all use the OBD2 plug like this from 1996 on. So that, I guess the old Snap-on one should be in a museum. Now since that modern scanner I have does OBD1 too, just like this thing does, I'll have to put this way in the back because, hey, it's a museum piece, being a pack rat and collecting stuff. So I'm going to throw that way in the back with the piles of things that may actually never be seen again. This is an OTC oxygen sensor socket box. There goes one of them. You gotta get an oxygen sensor off. They hide them in all places. These will take just about anyone ever made off. It's a handy thing for mechanics. But if you're a do-it-yourselfer, hey, you can just buy the one you need at any auto parts store online. Buy the one that you need. But this whole kit, hey, it's pretty good. It does them all. Now this is a cool medium-sized pry bar. She's got a very interesting edge. When you need to pry things, there are various sizes, angles, contortions to get things out. This particular one is very good for getting into small spaces that you can hide this in and then pop it. If you have a straight one, there often isn't enough room, but with this, you got that angle. So say you got a car jacked up in the air and you can't get the thing to turn the whole way, this is already in there, so you only need a little bit of working room to pry stuff off. Pry bars are really handy. 2 bottles of hydraulic jack oil. I obviously bought a second one because I couldn't find the first one. Well, now I found them both. And here's the thing, if you got a good jack, like this 3-ton one that I got at Harbor Freight Tools, every once in a while you lose a little fluid. You add jack oil fluid, and only jack oil fluid. You put in the wrong fluid, the oil will ruin the seals, and there goes your jack. That one bottle is over 35 years old. You don't use it very often. Guess what? Just like your engine oil, you need to change your jack oil every once in a while. Now, it's not that common, maybe once every 4 or 5 years, but there's a drain. You can drain it and then fill it back up. Just make sure you use jack oil. What else is in there? These gigantic pry bars. It's a company called Max Lev. You can see how thick and strong these tools are. They're made in the United States. If you can't get a wrench to pull something off, use this as an extender, believe me, it's gonna come off. Because sometimes this isn't enough leverage, this wrench. You got it on, you can't get it loose, watch this. You put this giant extender on, man, you got a fulcrum to loosen those nuts and bolts. When it's this long. The company actually has many sizes, and I have them all. They're anywhere from this long to this gigantic one. And they're just simple leverage. It just fit right in there, and then you pull it down. These things are strong. I've never broken one. And when you want to get something off, you can't beat it. Now, if it's really bad, the giant metal pipe, guess what? It fits inside the giant metal pipe. So now you have even more leverage. If this isn't enough, go to a hardware store and buy a giant pipe and put that on. It's even longer. What else is in here? What the heck do you need giant pliers for? Well, you want to squeeze brake calipers in? And they're adjustable for any different sizes. These are really old, and the reason they were there, if you see, it's loose. The bolt system on this is just breaking down. I mean, this thing is like 45 years old. It's seen its day. Years ago, I replaced it with this modern version, which you can see has a riveted head. There isn't a nut and a bolt, so there's no bolt to get loose. It's a better design. But this is my old friend that I used for decades. I just can't throw it away. So I'll put it in the back with my other tools. Maybe I'll make a museum out of them one day. Another giant pry bar. Like I say, pry bars come in various sizes. This one's cool because it's humongous. And whenever I'd pull a transmission off doing a clutch job, they'd stick off, and so I get a big thing like this and pull, which of course also has this angled one so you can pry from various angles. Nothing beats giant pry bars. They can get you into places that otherwise are just stuck. The other tool I showed, the max lev, the longer it is, the better leverage, the better you're going to take big things apart. What's way in the back here? I haven't seen this giant screwdriver in over 30 years. I was looking for it, and I bought various new ones over the age with little red ends instead. This classic black one, I've been looking for it for years and years. So I'm going to put it back in its place of honor. Here's the other one I bought. This is actually a higher quality one. I'm going to put it back up where it lived 30-something years ago. You never know when you need a giant screwdriver. They're great for listening to noises, used as a pry bar, getting things off that are stuck. It's a real handy all-around tool. And now I found my original one. I am shocked. It was a cheaper made one and the plastic end broke off. You can see that one still had a good plastic end on them. Let's just say that they don't even make plastic like they used to. What else is hiding in here? Oh, ball joint removal kit. It is handy when you need it. How it works is, this just fits over the ball joint. It has various adapters, so it fits over it. And then as you tighten this, it takes the joints apart. It's for press-fitted ball joints where they're press-fitted in. Now these days, you take like the Toyotas and stuff, they bolt on, so you don't even need the tool. It just bolts off and bolts on. And a lot of the modern ones, you can't even replace them. You got to replace the whole lower control arm assembly that's got the bushings and the ball joint built in because they're not made to be taken apart. So that's more for older vehicles and trucks. That's why I don't use it all that often. But I'm going to keep it there because one of these days I'll get an older vehicle or a truck that I need to use it for, and without it I won't be able to do the job. Now I don't think I've seen this thing for 40 years. I got 3 more hanging on the wall over there. What it is it's a spray gun. And this end, it sucks, goes into whatever container you want. This connects to an air hose like this. And then when you push the button, it sucks here. I can feel it sucking. And it sprays out of here. So you can spray whatever you want. Instead of buying a spray can of engine degreaser, which is basically kerosene, use a little kerosene in a little container. And this will spray it all over the place. You know, you can use it for just about any kind of spray. If you got an air compressor, you need an air compressor to run it. And it has a variable adjustment here to make it stronger or weaker, how fast it sprays. They're very handy if you have an air compressor. If you don't, they're useless. What else is in here? Well, this has nothing to do with fixing cars, but it's a pocket tackle box that I got for my kids when they were like 6, 7 years old. It's still in there. It's still got the fish hooks and the lures and the lead weights. Amazing, the things you can find in your garage. I gotta keep this. Maybe I'll send it to one of my kids as a joke present one time. Say, hey, you forgot your fishing kit. What else is in here? Okay, this is an old-fashioned torque wrench. It's a bar wrench, and you read the torque here. The advantage of this is it's a piece of steel. The other ones have cranks on them, and they have to be recalibrated all the time. These old things, hey, the steel isn't going anywhere. It's pretty much going to stay the same forever. Now, they're kind of big, you need a lot of working room, but they actually work quite well. And this particular one's cool because it's got both the 1/2-inch socket and the 3/8 inch, so you can use it for either side sockets. It may be old, but they stay accurate because the steel's steel. They don't have adjustments with springs inside that have to be adjusted. They're just going by the tension of the steel, and that isn't going to change much over time. Looks like some kind of alligator thing. Well, believe it or not, this is an oil filter removal tool. When you really get an oil filter stuck on, and maybe it's all crunched because it won't come off, these alligator blade things, man, they can get anything. If it's one of those straight down ones, these teeth can grab it to get it off. And if it's more sideways, these can grab it and get it off. And with this giant fulcrum on it, you're going to get a lot of power to get it off. And strangely enough, it's called gator jaws. Now, the only problem with a tool like this today is in many modern cars, there's so little working room. You can't get something this big in there. That's the only problem with this tool. Sometimes it's too big for its own good. A radiator pressure tester. If you ever wonder what mechanics say when they want to pressure test your cooling system, this is how they do it. It's got a pressure testing machine that builds up pressure, and then with this adapter, there's various caps that fit various radiator systems. It's so complex nowadays, you need all these different tools to test all the cars. And this particular set is interesting because it has a set of 3 of these universal size ones. They fit into here. And what they do is, they screw in, then they fit over the radiator cap. And once they're on the radiator cap, that fitting fits in, you pressure test it, and you can see if there's leaks, and you can watch the gauge. And if you see the gauge is losing pressure, even if you can't see anything dripping, you know the system's got a leak somewhere. You take this off, fill it all the way to the top with water so the system's full, then pump it, and you're going to see it squirting out somewhere. You got to really have these if you're serious about finding cooling leaks on modern cars, and these kits aren't all that expensive. And the advantage with this kind of universal one with 3 different sizes is it'll generally work on just about every single car out there. What else is in there? A display item, the computer from a really old Toyota. Back in the day, when the cars only had 1 computer. Now, they have many modules. Some have 67 or more. But this only had 1 computer. They're much simpler than they are today. Whoa, here's a blast from the past. This is a simple 12-volt test light. This goes to the negative terminal of the battery or the ground on the car. And this tests for power with a little light lighting up. Now, it used to be that you could do most electrical repairs on cars in the 60s using something this simple. But today, man, you're talking about freeze frame oscilloscopes, 8 different inputs to them. You're talking about non-contact amp meters. But another museum piece, this can go back in my museum. And what's the last thing I found? It's a can of Sunstrip DL, paint and varnish remover. I bought this can when I bought this house 42 years ago. And let's see something. Did they make things better 42 years ago? Does it still work? Got a lot of stuff in it? Man alive, that's amazing. Totally amazing. 42 years later, the can still sprays. Whoa, they don't make them like they used to. Isn't that the truth? But since this is Mechanic Monday, I'm going to be giving away one of these radiator pressure test kits. To have a chance to win, just place a clean, non-offensive comment on the YouTube comments below, and a winner will be chosen randomly to get a nice kit for finding any coolant leaks in theirs or their neighbors' cars. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.